Our next speaker is Dr. Pooja Sinha, who's the director and consultant of the Vitreoretinal Services from ABI Hospital, and she's going to talk on her interesting case of fibrin CSR. On to you, Dr. Pooja.
A very good evening to everyone, and special thanks to ARC and Chitra ma'am for this opportunity. I have 3 interesting cases of fibrin CSR, but just a few slides before that, just to enumerate everything. So these are straightforward cases of CSR, where on the left hand side you see the ink blot pattern of leakage, and the right hand side you see the smokestack, and that is usually treated with observation versus laser, as the case suggests. But these are little difficult entities where there is a deposition of subretinal fibrin, and here it is a matter of concern because the patient loses vision and sometimes permanent vision loss. So fibrin and CSR is not so uncommon presentation. Pathophysiology could be an excessive hyperpermeability of the choroidal vessels, impairment of the choroidal vascular autoregulation, and dysfunction of the RPE. Fibrin is more commonly seen in patients on steroid use and in pregnancies. There's also a role of inflammation. So this was a good article by Dr. Sudipta at Shankar Nitsale, where they managed fibrin CSR with focal laser, and that did very well because this was an extrafoveal fibrin deposition. So this is the confusing array where fibrin and SRF could be part of CNVM. Fibrin and CSR could respond to ranibizumab. There is a very interesting article in Retina 2010 where Lin et al. Demonstrated increased levels of VEGF in aqueous fluid in patients with CSR. Fibrin can be part of CSR, or fibrin and CSR can lead to subretinal scarring. Gass also pointed out that when there is presence of subretinal exudation, a choroidal neovascularization should be definitely in mind. And this was an article by Simondis where CSR was treated with a good response to ranibizumab injection. So this was my case. This was a 35-year-old. A 35-year-old female who presented with diminution of vision in the left eye for 4 weeks with best corrected visual acuity of 6/36. And you can see that on FFA, there was an ink blot pattern of leakage. But if one sees carefully, there was a subretinal hemorrhage in the foveal region superior to the fovea, which gave the diagnosis away. The OCT showed serous detachment and also a CNVM vascular network. And angio-OCT was important in this case because there was a vascular shadow in the outer retina suggestive of CNVM. This was a 29-year-old male patient who presented with diminution of vision. In the right eye for 3 weeks with best corrected visual acuity of 6/18. You can see that the clinical picture showed fibrin CSR with ink blot pattern of leakage. The OCT corresponding showed a subfoveal serous detachment. But the angio-OCT showed the CSR vascular network in the outer retina suggestive of CNVM. And you could see very good that 1 week post bevacizumab, there was a disappearance of CNVM after the injection. This was a very interesting case, a 28-year-old male patient who presented with a visual acuity of 6/6. He regularly complained of metamorphopsia, although clinically everything looked all normal. But angio-OCT was very important in this patient because it detected a vascular shadow in the outer retina and choricapillary rays suggestive of CNVM, even when the OCT showed no subretinal or intraretinal fluid. So sometimes these cases need an angio-OCT. So what do I know now? Fibrins and CSR can occur without CNVM. It can occur with CNVM. It can actually masquerade a real occult CNVM. It can resolve spontaneously with focal laser in a routine CSR. It can cause fibrotic scars, and that is why it is important to diagnose it faster and treat it. It can be treated with anti-VEGF when it is associated with a CNV. So in conclusion, CSCR with subretinal fibrin can mimic idiopathic CNVM or vice versa. It is important to distinguish idiopathic CNV from a CNV, especially a type 1 CNV arising from a chronic CSC, in which features of widespread RPE abnormality and thickened choroidal vessels. And role of multimodal imaging then becomes very important. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
That was a wonderful presentation, Dr. Pooja. And Dr. Malika, could you enlarge on that?
Yeah, so very good point that you have brought up in CSR is the fibrin CSR. But, as you yourself showed that it doesn't mean that there is the presence of CNVM or that there's any specific feature. Just because it has fibrin, it does not even give an idea about what is the preferred treatment modality. It has to be treated like any other CSR. And when you mentioned that the VEGF levels were high in these cases, it's because in CSR, VEGF levels have been detected to be high. And that was the rationale to have tried anti-VEGF, which works in some cases, as some studies have shown also. So my point is that fibrin CSR does not give us any specific idea about the etiology, association, or management at all. We have to treat a given case as any other CSR. They can have leaks, which can be treatable with laser, or they require PDT. Not necessarily they respond to anti-VEGF. The studies in 2010 and 11 did not have the benefit of ICG or OCTA. They did not even do fluorescein. They just said we tried ranibizumab and it worked. But ranibizumab works even for CSR without CNVM. So my point is, I have a couple of cases, if in 2 seconds, which can be shown, where only just laser or PDT worked. And in fact, we gave a lot of anti-VEGF and did not work. So that's my point. Of course, fibrin or no fibrin, CSRs do cause scarring and loss of photoreceptors, fibrin or no fibrin. So CSR has to be treated if it's involving the central macula after at least 6 to 8 weeks. We cannot leave it indefinitely. That's what I would say.
Srinivas?
Thank you, madam. Very valid points. Any other panel members would like to agree with the point how to treat differently with the fibrin?
See here, this is an exudative, fibrin is CSR, and you see the 2-point leaks, and they were just lasered, and it disappeared. This was another one which gravitational tracks of exudation, and it responded not to months and months of anti-VEGF, but only to PDT, finally. This is post-PDT resolution. So this is just to say that fibrin doesn't mean anything at all. It just means CSR.
Are we dealing with the case where there is fibrin with CSE and associated with CNVM, or is it two different entities altogether? Are we dealing with a combination of the two? Is the question, because it has responded to anti-VEGF. And the purpose and the reason why it responds to anti-VEGF, I feel, is that anti-VEGFs have anti-inflammatory, anti-permeability, and anti-angiogenic properties, all the three, in fact. So I think anti-VEGFs will work in some cases, though not in all cases, it will work in some cases.
Yes, it works. It works.
Fibrin CSR could also mean chronicity, or if there is a chronic CSC, then we have to look for underlying CNVM, especially in older age group patients. So, one point which may be highlighted is also the chronicity associated with the fibrin.
But Dr.
Chronic CSRs don't have fibrin, according to my experience. Yeah.
And if they have fibrin, it doesn't mean CNVM. We have treated them with anti-VEGFs for months. Right. And only they responded to PDT, which is a specific for CSR, not CNVM. Right. I think the time is up, he said.
Thank you. Thank you, Pooja, and Dr. Mallika for a great discussion.